Hey everybody, I'm Rick Beato.
Rhett Shull.
On today's episode, we're going to try to recreate the Black Sabbath guitar sound. What is that, Rhett?
It's an SG with P90s into a 100-watt Lahey 412.
Now, there's a few different 100-watt Laheys that you hear about related to Tony Iommi, the LA100BL, and then there's the Lahey Clip, which is what I have. The Lahey Clip was introduced, I think he started using it on the third record, Master of Reality, and we'll actually go over, I think we're going to do Into the Void from that and try and recreate that sound. These are massively powerful amps, similar to Plexis.
Mm-hmm. And he also is known for using the Rangemaster treble booster, which in front of one of those amps, you'll see, it's pretty heavy.
Let's go into the control room and check it out. The amp we're using, like I said, for today is a Lahey Clip. This is a 100-watt head. It has partridge transformers in it. We have this War Pig. This is actually a treble boost that is actually built into the clip side of the amp. So what they did is that Tony Iommi was using this in front of his original Lahey, and so they actually built one into the amp. Now, the thing about this amp is that this gain, the clip side is not quite gainy enough for the thing that we're going to do first, Into the Void. What we're using on this one is the Rat to get just a little extra gain that we need. And I'm actually going through the normal channel. And the normal channel is actually like a Plexi. It's really great. Got a lot of beefy low end to it. I've got one mic on it. I'm going to show you the setup right now. The cabinet we're using today is a 1970 Lahey 412 with 75-watt Fanes. And we are miking it with a Shure SM57. The mic pre that we're recording into is a BAE 1032, which has a Neve 1073 mic pre and a Neve 1081 EQ.
And then the guitar we're using today is an SG with P90s.
It's a 63 reissue.
Yeah, it's a new one. This is a particularly good one. Nice and light, doesn't neck dive at all. We should point out that Gibson actually did a run of the Iommi Monkey SGs last year. Couldn't get one of those for the video, but this is this is really, really good. The main difference primarily is going to be, I think, in the pickups. These have the plastic covers on them, where Tony's has the metal. I think there were steel covers on, right?
Now, I have a 65 SG. I think Tony's is a 65.
I think so, yeah.
But I have the regular PAFs. They don't quite sound right for this, so that's why we're using this guitar for the video. Okay, let's take it from the top. For the double track, we're going to use the treble boost here, the Rangemaster. This has less gain than the other sound. We used the Rat to get that extra overdrive that we needed, the extra fuzz.
There's also a mid-range thing that's happening in the record, like right around 1K. It almost sounds like a half-cocked wah.
On the first track that we used the Rat with.
Yeah, we're using the filter on the Rat to get them. We should point out that's a Keeley modded Rat. It's not stock. But this, I think, is right for the second track.
Let's try it out. Next, we're going to do a direct comparison between the original track, Tony's right side guitar versus Rhett's. I'm going to go Tony, Rhett, Tony. And then we're going to do my guitar, and we're going to do me, Tony, me. Mine is through the Rangemaster. Rets is through the Rat. Let's see how close they are. Let's talk about ghosting for a second.
Yeah, so this is ghosting.
Hear that lower note to it?
And it's interacting with the different pitches. It's like
a subharmonic.
Yeah, super cool. When you play even a power chord, just a root and fifth like that.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like there's an octave below it. That's really cool.
Now, Iommi described it as this weird undertone that almost sounded like it was an octave below, but it wasn't really an octave below. And what's cool is it doesn't track with your notes. So it's almost like a sort of ring modulation that happens. And what it's actually coming from, as far as I understand it, is the actual wall voltage. It's in the US, a 60 cycle hum that's coming through the power transformers and through the power section of the amplifier. Somebody that understands amp circuitry better than me can give a more detailed description in the comments, but it comes from diming an amp, specifically a high-powered.
High-powered tube amp. This is something that digital really has a hard time getting. This is one of the things when we're playing with these tube amps that you can really tell the difference. They're
trying to get there with the modeling stuff. The Axe-Fx 3, I think, does it, and there's actually a pedal that does it, the Revival Drive, that actually has a control for ghosting. And interestingly, you can pick if you want 60 cycles or 120 cycles to simulate, if you had the amp over in the UK, what it would sound like. But we're getting that here, and I think that is a pretty big part of the Sabbath sound.
The other thing I want to mention is that we are actually using the Variac on this. I have this down to 115 volts, which is what the amp is set up for. And I think it just helps the sound, helps tighten it up just a little bit.
This amp is a beast, man. And we should point out, too, that we had to take the back cover off.
Because you could basically cook eggs on it. It gets so hot.
I don't know if you can see this on camera, but this is the back cover, the inside of the back cover, and it's literally starting to char.
Actually, we started the video a few days ago, and the head blew up. So I had to bring it in to my buddy Jeff Bakos to have him retube it. Because the fuse failed, I think knocked out a couple of caps, and so I had to have all new power tubes put in it, and that's why it's actually sounding really good here. Well, it has a top, just like a 100-watt Marshall, has the port on the top, but on the back it doesn't have anything. On a Marshall, you would have that exposed to get that extra air in there that you need. So that's the one thing about these old Laneys you got to be careful of. But these heads are really killer sounding.
Yeah. So it's interesting after playing this stuff, the difference in tone that Iommi had versus Page or any of the other major guitar players of the time. I mean, this thing is based roughly off of Marshall, but he was just doing something different.
Yeah, these tones are very different. Sabbath tones are very different, which is why a lot of metal bands emulated them, because of the type of fuzz, the type of riffs. That was kind of the blueprint for metal, more than Zeppelin, bands like that.
You can definitely hear some parallels between Sabbath and Zeppelin, but for me, Sabbath is my favorite metal band of all time.
One of the things that I noticed from actually working on the tracks, is that Geezer Butler's bass parts are a huge part of what makes the song so heavy sounding.
Yeah, it's huge. And the bass tones, I mean, we could do a whole other video just on the bass sounds. I mean, really, really heavy and saturated and thick, but they fit in the mix super well.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you think that we got close to the sound or not. I hear a couple little differences, some of that being them going to tape, probably, and it's also the way that Tony actually plays the parts himself. That's something that's very hard to mimic. That's all for now. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're a first-time viewer, ring the bell. That'll let you know when I go live and when a new video comes out. Give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. That's very important. If you're interested in the Beato book, go to my website at www.rickbeato.com. Follow me on Instagram at rickbeato1. Check out the new Beato ear training program at beatoeartraining.com. And if you want to support the channel even more, think about becoming a member of the Beato Club. Thanks for watching.